on today's episode of the Riderflex podcast, an updated list of tips around working remotely. I've done episodes on this topic before. There's a million articles on it out there, books, blogs, specific podcasts about working remotely. We've done it here at recruiting firm Riderflex for 7 years, and I want to give you a quick updated list of, I guess, 5 categories. I say list, we'll call it 5 categories. Number 1, guilt-free. Here's what I mean by that. A lot of you are probably worried that you will work less, right? Because you're at home and you maybe you run an errand, maybe you answer the doorbell, you talk to the mailman, you empty the dishwasher, you put a load of laundry in, whatever. I think for a lot of people and a lot of bosses out there, they make the assumption that you're going to work less because you're going to be at home to do other things. I actually think it's the opposite. And I can tell you that from experience. Because your desk and everything that you do is right there in the house, you usually start work earlier. You usually work some in the evenings or on the weekends sometimes. If it's bad weather and you can't get out, you'll work. You actually end up working more most of the time. I would almost guarantee you that most people work more minutes when they work remotely, assuming they were a good average worker with good work ethic in the first place. So don't feel guilty about getting up from your desk to empty the dishwasher, take out the trash, put away the Amazon order that dropped, run a quick errand, walk your dog, whatever it might be. I think it's important to not feel guilty about it, because if you do, it's going to create stress. And if you are constantly stressed about it, as you all know, stress can cause all kinds of damage to your body. So my first category tip is be guilt-free. Don't think you have to be sitting at your desk with your fingers on the keyboard every minute of the day. Next, take advantage. That's my next category. Take advantage. Take advantage of the time that you are not commuting. Do not just pour on a bunch of extra unnecessary hours. For example, let's say that for the last 15 years, you're used to having a family moment between 6:45 and 7 because your commute didn't put you home until then, right? Now, a lot of you can actually stop working at 5 or whenever your work is done. You can stop working and replace those commuter minutes with good family time. Take advantage of that. Don't just throw those hours away, right? The whole reason to work remotely, well, not the whole reason, but a couple of big reasons to work remotely is to eliminate that commute and be at home with your family, doing family things more, okay? More hours of the day. So take advantage of that. I really think you should take advantage of the fact that when you stop working at 5 and you walk upstairs from your basement office, boom, you're home. You're done. At 5:02, you are done, and you're there to be there with your family. Take advantage of that. Do more things with them. Have a better quality lifestyle when it comes to dinner with your family, or going to your kids' baseball games or soccer games or whatever. Take advantage. And if you don't have a family and kids, or even if you do, take advantage by spending more time on your hobby, whatever your hobby is. Maybe you build trains in your garage. I don't know. Maybe you have hot rods in your garage, or maybe you love to garden, or I don't know, whatever. Take advantage. increase your hobby time, which will bring you more emotional and psychological benefits and happiness. The third category that I want to talk about is limiting your social media. And I want to give you some tips on how I do that. Yes, it can be tempting. And really, this applies for people that are in the office too, but I'm throwing it in there for people who work remotely. I find the best things to do are actually close the social media tabs on your browser. Don't leave them open so that you can see all the little notifications, right? Don't leave them open. Don't leave Facebook open, Instagram, all this stuff linked in. Close it out when you're doing real work, whether you're coding or writing or making phone calls, sales calls, whatever. It's best, at least I think, my advice is to check your social media in the morning, right? Spend a few minutes on it, whatever it is you do your work, maybe scan it at lunch and maybe scan it at the end of the day. Don't just leave the tabs open all day and glance over at Facebook 10, 15, 20 times a day. Bad idea. And you will end up burning some minutes that you probably should be working. Next, number 4, play music. When you are working by yourself at home, and obviously I'm not talking about while you're on the phone or in the middle of a Zoom meeting, but when you're working by yourself, sometimes it can I wouldn't say depressing. It doesn't get depressing for me, but it gets a little quiet, right? A little lonely maybe sometimes. It's amazing what just turning on some good music can do, right? Just turn on your music. Anytime I get like a little down or maybe I'm bummed out about something or I don't know, maybe the day's not going well or something, I'll turn on some good music and bam, I'm back on track and moving at full speed. And last, number 5, the 5th category for this particular episode does evolve around health, exercise, and diet. And hey, listen, I'm just an average 55-year-old guy that weighs about 188 pounds. And so I'm not perfect by any means. So I'm not trying to give out a bunch of modeling advice here, but here are the things I try to do at my age. And I recommend these. Number 1, I would get a sit and stand desk or have your workstation in such a way that you can sit or stand and work and go back and forth throughout the day instead of just sitting in one spot all day. I think that's very valuable. Number 2, under this particular category is don't forget to move around. It is okay to move around. In fact, I encourage you to move around, walk up the stairs. Like I mentioned earlier, check the mail, take the trash out, take the dog for a walk around the block during lunch, whatever it is important for you to move around and be active and not just sit there like a stone for 8 hours. Okay. So that was number 2. Number 3 under this category is, yes, even if you don't like to do a little bit of exercise, because you're working from home, you're going to probably move around less overall than you were used to, especially if you used to be a heavy traveler in airports and all this stuff. You're going to burn less calories. Okay. You're going to burn less calories most of the time when you switch to working from home. So along with moving around during the day, I would also start an exercise routine in the morning of some kind, even if you don't want to, even if it's just walking on the treadmill for 20 minutes at a slow pace, whatever it is, do something to get the body circulating and burn a few calories. Because I can promise you, if you've never worked from home before and you're used to being up, walking around, working in retail or traveling or whatever, you're going to put on weight right away. The 4th little bullet point under this category is careful with the ongoing snacking. Every time you go up to the kitchen to get a cup of coffee, it is so easy to just grab something because you're right there at home. I found myself doing that a lot more. In fact, I just mentioned that I weigh about 188 pounds. I was up to 200 here just a while back. It's easy to just keep grabbing stuff every time you walk upstairs or walk. I keep saying walk upstairs because my office is down in the basement. But every time you walk through the kitchen, careful. Have something healthy sitting around, whether it's some vegetables or some fruit or some nuts or whatever, but don't just leave junk food sitting around, because if you see it, you're going to be more tempted to grab it. And those are my updated tips on working remotely. I hope it helps, and wishing everybody the best when it comes to working from home.